so horrendous. The physical I think is the part of the chemo that I wasn't prepared for, you know, like they'd said to me, you know, I could do this cold cap treatment just to try and stop your hair falling out, you know, and so I was like, yes, I want to definitely do that. Like, I don't want my hair to fall out. And it didn't work. I did it and it didn't work. And so then my hair was just falling out in clumps. And I remember thinking, I'm obviously, for whatever reason, meant to get the full experience. You know, there's no mini version of cancer. You're not getting some kind of special version. You're going to get the full-blown one. And it was hard. I think the part that I think is the hardest about losing, like, your hair and your in a funny way, your eyebrows and eyelashes are actually worse, because that's when you definitely look sick. You start to look like your skin goes grey. You start to get this kind of, I don't know, this kind of deathly tones about you. Is that when you forget that you're sick because you can't see yourself for a minute, it's the pity that you see reflected back, you know, and so then you're like, oh, that's right, I'm sick, you know. It's that never being able to escape, sort of, I guess, that feeling. It was a hard one, you know, and I think it's funny because you think chemo's the hardest until you then go and do like mastectomies and stuff, and then you're like, oh, now I look back, actually chemo wasn't actually, you know, it's funny, chemo's so hard physically, but not as tough, I think, emotionally, you know, like the surgeries are so tough emotionally, you know. So I don't know, I guess that's why it's a battle, you know, it's a long process, you know, you really go through it.
Did you have time, you know, what with you know, you sound like even during that going, you know, this is happening, I'm meant to get this full experience, and I know it was up and down for you. Was there ever a time where you're like, I'm not going to make it here? Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. I think maybe around 3 months, I remember saying to Marcus this one day, like the chemo, I'd had this morning where I literally thought I was losing my mind. I could not get the taste of the chemo out of my mouth and off my skin. So I could smell it. And I was saying to Marcus, can you smell it? Can you smell it? And he's like, I can't smell anything. I can't smell anything. And I could smell it. And so I was like a wild dog. And so I was like putting things in my mouth. Like I couldn't stop eating. Like I was eating like an orange and a passion fruit. Then I was eating chips and I was eating popcorn. I was just trying to get rid of this flavour, you know, and I was putting ice cream. Then I rang Domino's at like 9 a.m. trying to get a pizza, and then they weren't delivering. And, you know, like I was so full. I couldn't eat anymore, but I just kept eating and eating and eating. And then I got in the shower, and the pain, I think this is the thing, the pain was excruciating. It's like you have pain medication, but it's just not strong enough, is the short answer, you know. So the kind of chemo, it feels awful going in, and then it feels like you have this sort of other injection thing that I would do, and it felt like your bones were being ripped apart. And so then for about a week you couldn't sleep, right? So then it's like you can't sleep because my bones feel like they're so sore. I felt like I was being beaten with a baseball bat, so I couldn't sleep. And then because you can't, like, everything's just your body's fucked. It's totally fucked. And I remember getting in the shower, and I just was on the floor in the shower howling. And I remember Marcus coming in, he was holding Annabelle, and I just was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can. Like, I just don't think I have this in me. And I remember just looking up and his face, and Annabelle's little face, and then I was just like, oh, I have to, you know, I have to do this, you know. But yeah, I definitely remember, you know, you go through periods where you're like, I'm doing all I can, but I don't know if it's enough, you know. I remember saying once to Fran, when she said no more chemo, I was like, no, I want to do more chemo. And she was like, you can't do any more chemo. Now your liver and your kidneys are starting to shut down from the chemo. But I was petrified then that I hadn't done enough, you know? And I was thinking, oh my God, like, what if I needed like a few more rounds, and that's the difference? What if I don't survive? Because, you know, your mind is so powerful both ways, you know? When you need it to be strong to get you through, it's so strong, and you're like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. I'll do all I can. I want more chemo. I want more chemo. But then it's also really strong when it starts going, what if I die?
Yeah.
That actually might be what's on the cards, and I might not be able to change how this pans out, you know. And if that's what happens, then what?
Yeah.
You know, then what? And that's when I started going, what will I do? Will I write Annabelle these letters? What will I, you know, like, and then I was like, oh, I can't go down that path because I'm using my energy in a place where I don't want to use it. I need to use it to try and stay strong, and I need to just keep going, and we'll see what happens.